We read from the Gospel of St. Luke. On one occasion, when Jesus was going to the house of a leader of the Pharisees to eat a meal on the Sabbath, they were watching him closely. When he noticed how the guests chose the places of honor, he told them a parable. When you are invited by someone to a wedding banquet, do not sit down at the place of honor, in case someone more distinguished than you has been invited by your host. And the host who's invited both of you, he may come to you and say, give this person your place, and then in disgrace you would start to take the lowest place. But when you are invited, go and sit down at the lowest place, so that when your host comes, he may say to you, friend, move up a little higher. Then you will be honored in the presence of all who sit at that table with you. For all who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. He said also to the one who had invited him, when you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends or your brothers and sisters or your relatives or rich neighbors in case they may invite you in return and you would be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed because they cannot repay you, for you will be paid at the resurrection of the righteous. This is the gospel of Christ. Some of the greatest moments of my ministry, whether it's here, Shelburne, wherever it has been, some of the most powerful moments in ministry that I've ever experienced has been when I was with people who were being real. Rich or poor, it didn't matter. Anybody who was in a place where they were genuinely being real, when there was a sense of lowliness in heart, a sense of vulnerability, right? Those have always been the most powerful moments of ministry for me. You're just sitting around, you're just hanging out, you're just being honest and authentic and sincere. Nothing to do with money, has nothing to do with prestige or status within a community. It has everything to do with being real. There's no sense that I want to be seen as something more. I want to be seen as something beyond. I want to be seen as someone to be honored. There's no sense that we're having this conversation in order to achieve some level of status. We're just all sort of using the imagery that Jesus speaks about. We're just all sitting around the low table. Just sitting around the low table, sitting around the low table, talking about life, sitting around the low table, talking about our griefs, talking about our dreams and our hopes. That's what we're doing. Why would anybody ever want to leave the low table? Why would anybody ever want to be at that head table, in those places of honor? I don't get a sense that there's anything real in those places. I don't get a sense that there's anything of value happening at that table. I don't get a sense that there's anything sincere and authentic about it. My suspicion is, and my experience has been, when you get placed at that head table, everybody's watching you. And not only are they watching you, but they're waiting. They're waiting for you to get soup in your beard. They're waiting for you to get crumbs, right, in your mustache. They're waiting for you to mess up. They're waiting for you to spill. You got to be on your best. You got to be at your peak. Your etiquette must be pristine. Those low tables are the best table. What is it? Garth Brooks has that song. I got friends in low places. Low places are where life happens. The low places, I think the low places are where life genuinely where life is genuinely shared. When life is truly shared and received. So, I mean, I get what Jesus is saying here. You don't want to exalt yourself because you'll be humbled. Yeah, you get to that high table, everybody's going to wait. The minute you get soup in your beard, there goes all that honor. Yeah, there goes all here comes Mr. Unwanted Humility. But it's in those humble places where we find truth. And it's in those humble places where we find sincerity. And it's in those humble places where we can be and live honestly. It's in those humble places where there's peace. It's in those humble places where we can be, finally, we can be ourselves, and we can do so without fear that we're going to be beaten up or knocked down. Be willing to humble yourself. Not because you might be rewarded with great honor, but be willing to humble yourself because you'll be rewarded. You'll be rewarded with peace. Amen.